This story was relayed to me by one of my subscribers under one of my posts, and I'm sorry if I forgot who it was, but it was hours ago when they sent me this topic. But if you're out there listening, you know exactly who you are. Thank you for sending it to me. So this story comes out of California, where you have this man by the name of Kevin Douglas Limbaugh, and with that last name and how is not common, I wonder if he's any relation to Rush Limbaugh. We all know who that guy is. But this guy went on a shooting spree, and in the midst of that spree, he ended up killing a law enforcement officer. And then he later killed himself when he got surrounded. But what makes this story even more odd is the note that he left. But I'm going to read the story, and then we're going to get to the part about the note that he left before he killed himself. It says a 48-year-old man identified as the gunman in the ambush killing of a 22-year-old Davis police officer left a note in his apartment saying that police had hit him with ultrasonic waves meant to keep dogs from barking. What? Ultrasonic waves? What in... Let me continue. The note was released by Davis police a few hours after Kevin Douglas Limbaugh of Davis was identified as the man who shot and killed Officer Natalie Corona on Thursday while the rookie officer was responding to a routine collision in downtown Davis, according to the Yolo County Sheriff's Office. Hours after the shooting, Limbaugh killed himself with a single gunshot to the head as police closed in. The note was found during a search by police of Limbaugh's apartment. The Davis Police Department has been hitting me with ultrasonic waves meant to keep dogs from barking, read the note, which was typed on a computer. I notified the press, internal affairs, and even the FBI about it. I am highly sensitive to its effect on my inner ear. I did my best to appease them, but they have continued for years, and I can't live this way anymore. Amazing he did all of this after he went on this spree that he went on. According to Lieutenant Paul Durashoff of the Davis Police, there's no way to tell exactly when the note was typed. And he's actually right, because there's actually a picture of the note. There it is right there. It's kind of off the screen. Let me move this over so you can see it. That's what the note says right there, but it has no date attached to it. That's just it right there. He said, there's been a lot of rumors as to why this happened, why he did what he did, and we're hoping to shed some light. As for the placement of the note, which was found face up in Limbaugh's bed, I really can't speculate as to why it was there like that. The killing of Corona and the shooting spree that followed was not Limbaugh's first brush with the law. In September, Limbaugh was arrested at his Davis home, the same place where he shot himself, on a felony charge of battery with serious bodily injury. The charge was reduced to a misdemeanor in October after a plea deal in which Limbaugh pleaded no contest. The deal resulted in an 8-day jail sentence and probation. Well, if they would have chalked it up to a felony like it should have been, then this would not have happened. This is exactly why they continue to do all the stuff that they do, and why the casualties keep piling up, because they keep giving them slaps on the wrist with all these misdemeanors. Limbaugh was also ordered to surrender a black .223 caliber Bushmaster semi-automatic assault rifle. Before the September incident, Limbaugh had no arrest record in Davis. Court records show that Limbaugh did not report having any other registered weapons. Pytel said Friday he did not know whether the two semi-automatic handguns believed to have been used in Corona slaying were obtained legally. Records show that Limbaugh was a resident of Woodland in 2004 through 2005. He also lived in Florida, New Mexico, and Michigan. It sounds like this guy just got around. The shooting occurred Thursday night when Limbaugh rode up on a bicycle and opened fire. Corona fell to the ground after she was struck by the first bullet, but Limbaugh continued to fire, hitting her several times, including once in the neck. Limbaugh then reloaded his handgun and continued shooting, striking a passing bus, the backpack of a woman, and the boot of a firefighter before going back into his home near 5th and East Streets. He was identified as the suspect when authorities discovered a backpack left at the scene. Officers later surrounded the home and ordered Limbaugh to come outside. Wearing a bulletproof vest, he came outside, yelled something at the officers, and then went back into the house again. He emerged a second time, this time with a gun, before retracting indoors. No shots were fired by the police officers. I bet they weren't, had that been us. they probably would have busted down in the home and then ordered him to come out with his hands up. Oh, look at this. Officers sent a robot into the house after hearing a single gunshot. I wonder, was it the same kind of gunshot same kind of robot they sent in after Michael Johnson, but they didn't specify if this one was explosive or not. Limbaugh was found to have shot himself in the head. It does not appear that Limbaugh and Corona have ever crossed paths before the shooting. On Friday, the chief met with the department's officers and to tell them about the timeline of the shooting and Corona's injuries in advance of the public announcement, said Amy Juarez, a police spokeswoman. The chief also offered grief counseling for members of his department. We were all just in shock. We see it every day on the news, on our surrounding agencies, social media about officer killings, and it's heartbreaking every time, but you never think it's going to be your department. A memorial service for Corona is expected to be held in about 10 days. Meanwhile, Davis is trying to find a way to make sense of the senseless killing. It was the first on-duty officer death there in nearly 60 years. And something tells me it probably was more unarmed killings of unarmed people within that time as well. Stephanie Teague, age 38, who organized the candlelight vigil for Corona on Saturday evening at Central Park, said the entire town has been stepping forward to help. Businesses and residents are donating food and supplies to family members. Many families have donated dozens of candles to be used at the vigil and volunteered to clean up after the event. I want this to be a time of mourning, a time for people to band together in a community to grieve together. Thursday night is hard to forget for Mayor Brett Lee. He was in a meeting when he received a text message that an active shooter was loose downtown. After the lockdown ended, he raced to the police department and waited with officers and the city county members for news about Corona and the suspect. He says we need to be supportive of our first responders of the police department and the fire department, who on a daily basis are asked to step in situations that are challenging to their lives. Corona's death is one of several recent high-profile killings of law enforcement officers. Less than 3 weeks ago, Corporal Ronald Singh was fatally shot in Newman, Stanislaus County during a traffic stop. Officer Shatiri Payne, age 22, was shot and killed Wednesday in Shreveport, Louisiana. Of course, this is really surprising, said T, the vigil organizer. Obviously, you don't think this is going to happen, but to a certain extent, this is the world we live in. Davis is not immune to the rest of the world. Now, it's very interesting that they mention about these other officers being killed. Now, a lot of those I really didn't hear about. Now, I heard about that Ronald Singh one. And all of these officers that were shot and killed were killed by white people. Yet they have to put something out there for us, to be on alert and say that we are the ones that are violent. And I'm willing to bet that any amount of money, with the exception of this one right here, that all of them were probably taken in alive. Us, we don't even have the opportunity to do something. All we got to do is to mouth off or say that, use that infamous phrase of "we fear for our lives." Not to be disrespectful of the one being shot, but I wonder if she was fearing for her life in that moment right there. Because with us, we don't even have to do an ounce of what he did, and they automatically fear for their life. They'll fear for their life if they spot us all the way at the end of another street. Oh, I fear for my life because they looked at me a certain type of way from all the way down there. But y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links will be in the description. I will talk to you in the next one.